Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Tech Talk, episode 27. Excuse me as I take a sip of my coffee. Cheers. Today's brew is Peruvian from RangerCandyCoffeeCompany.com. You can go to the website, type in Andres Segovia in the promo code, save on shipping. That's one of the ways you'll be able to support the show as well, because I partner with them. Other ways to support the show, and this is my website, www.andressegovia.com. If you go there, click on support the show, you'll be able to find links to other places such as Locals and Anchor, where you can subscribe to my podcast on a different way, not just the typical way. And also quick links to tech that I have for sale, like the gear that I use. And I'm going to be doing a podcast-centric episode on how to be able to get gear for your own podcast that you're interested in doing. So you can check that out. I'm actually going to do an episode about that in the near future, so stay tuned for that. Another way you can support the show is buy my books. I have books, and my fourth published work is coming this year. I promise spring 2022, and I am in the middle of editing it and finalizing the final chapter to get that one out the door. So crossing fingers, that'll be done pretty soon. I have to talk about Twitter. I'm going to move that one up first. I did a reel this morning that I go to pre-record this stream. And in about a couple of hours, I've already amassed nearly 6,000 views on a reel that I have here. But for whatever reason, the audio is not going to be coming through. So you're interested in that reel, you can go to my Instagram, Andres Segovia is the handle on Instagram, so you can check it out. And I highlight a little bit of tongue-in-cheek other platforms that are available out there for anyone that's interested to look at. I do want to open this because I want to check something out here because I guess I'll let it play. I'm hearing the audio. Let me mute it. Okay, so like I said, a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek, talking about other I guess Twitter alternatives that exist. But I just saw these comments, and Alex Alamander says, "Bro, you have a podcast? That is sad." Well, I thought everybody in the world has a podcast. So it's like being on social media. Like, where can I find your podcast? That is sad. I know it's sad that not everybody knows that I have a podcast. So I'm glad you discovered that I have a podcast. Let me pause this thing. Okay, but as Danny Burford says, Gab is a hive of Nazis, man. It's awful. I'm not going to contradict that because I've come across them. I'm on Gab, and I have come across them. I blocked several of them just because, I don't. You have the freedom to speak, and I have the freedom to not listen to you. Okay, so I choose not to listen to you. But I have looked into certain things that I found interesting. In that, there's some Reddit forums as I noticed where people are faking this because that's the thing that gets the news the most for Gab. And I guess I'm gonna be coming across as a bit of a devil's advocate for Gab. I'm not being a devil's advocate. Gab is a free speech platform, and hate speech is protected speech. So that's one thing that people don't like. This is why the whole Twitter thing is a big deal, because only one side of the political aisle did not want some public discourse and didn't want freedom for anybody to say anything because it contradicts the narrative, it invades their safe spaces or whatever it might be, and things like that. So Gab doesn't do that. You can control that. And it's interesting that there's some supposed journalists that are then posting like, "Oh, look, Elon must block me. He's Mr. Free Speech." You can still speak, but you trolling somebody, you harassing somebody, you not contributing to something, they don't have to put up with your shenanigans. Them blocking you is not silencing you. That just means like, dude, I'm closing the door on you. It's like solicitors that come to your door. You don't want to open the door because you don't want to hear what they have to say or whatever. Like, or you put up a sign that says no soliciting. That doesn't mean people can't come to your door. You just choose like, I'm not gonna even deal with this. So go. So yeah, same thing happens across other platforms. You're gonna find spiteful people because it's a human condition. It's not political affiliation condition. Okay, but with respects to what people talk about Gavin, what it's mostly known for, I do believe now that I've been on it for a year that yes, there's truth in that because, like I said, I come across it, but I also believe it to be overblown because the media only wants to highlight that. And I have noticed that there have been some people that are trolling for the sake of trolling. They're faking to be these things so they can give the bad press on the mainstream media that wants to destroy places that are quite literally like self-funded, like Gab. So that, just want to throw that out there. Now, with respects to the other, well, I guess Elon Musk buying Twitter, I talked about this on Instagram Live, and I also weighed in on this on the Critical Introvert show because I was invited on to talk about these things. So I did weigh in on that then, so I don't want to overlap some of the things that I've already said, but I just want to remind people, Elon Musk does not own Twitter, but because he's buying it as of right now, because the board still has to approve it, um, you have a bunch of conservatives returning, and then you have liberals leaving. You have people like Mark Hamill and this other. Oh my goodness, what's this dude's dad's name? Something like that. I forget. That they're complaining, oh look, there's a mass purge of liberals going on. No, mass purge. They're leaving in droves. You really wished that those algorithms would shut you guys up. Elon Musk doesn't even own the thing. So, yeah, some people wanted to believe there was a purge that was going on. No, the people claiming that there's no censorship of conservatives, that there's no purging of conservative accounts, are the same ones complaining that they will no longer be able to do that in an Elon Musk controlled Twitter. Do you see the self-own there? The whole thing is just ridiculous. Honestly, there's no public discourse, which is why it's dangerous for one side of the political aisle, those on the left. So I like to see that return to Twitter. I have a Twitter account that's a mirroring service. I'm not active on it. I am interested in maybe continuing Twitter down the road if Elon Musk does buy it and things do pan out. But I don't believe shadow bans have been lifted. I don't believe the algorithms have changed. I just think that there's certain things on hold, and there's people that if they were monitoring these things in the first place, they're not employed right now because they left, or they're just too scared to even hop on anything because they're seeing all these conservative accounts either be reactivated or new conservative accounts being made on Twitter. And some people are having fun. And I say, go ahead, have your fun. But just remember, Twitter isn't owned by Elon Musk, and anything could change. And honestly, I don't trust that things are going to change just like that. But it's nice to see some pushback going on against one narrative. And honestly, the left losing their mind is just hilarious. So I've been enjoying all of that. Now, should I return to Twitter, like to become active, that doesn't mean I'm going to leave these other platforms. I'm still going to be just as active on those platforms, such as Parler, Gab. I'm on Minds. I try to be as active as I can, but this I've talked about. I don't want to talk about that anymore. And then others like I'm even on Truth Social. There's a big uptick in Truth Social these past few days too. So I'm just I want to be across as many places as I can because I'm trying to reach as many people as I can. So yeah, so I guess that's one of the topics that I wanted to touch on for this tech talk, and then conclude it with this, which is going to be interesting because this is if this is going to be a bit of a local broker reacts thing. So tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm going to treat this as a little bit of a recording session live, so to speak, with y'all. And then I'm going to clip this out and make it its own episode for the main show. Because Tech Talk doesn't debut on the main show. It doesn't make it to the podcast. So these are video exclusives that you can only find on my website. So if you go to my website, at the top of navigation, when you hover over some of these menu options, you'll see some drop-down menus. So under the show, you have articles, which is the blog and things that I write. The episodes, which is the main show that you can see at least the 3 latest episodes on the website. The interviews that I have done on my program, and there's a ton more interviews coming. So this is the quickest way for you to filter them out and see them. Off the record. So this is going to be more of the archive of Off the Record, since I moved that all to locals. And then the video exclusive. So this is the one I'll highlight and show you before I dive into the reaction thing. If this thing will load, what's going on? It's like, dude, I just clicked, making me look bad. So I'm not going to click this out. But while that thing's loading, so I moved Off the Record over to locals, and this is the best place for you to digest it. I'm doing video essays there, and I have other shows there that are exclusive only to locals that I do with other. I have a co-host, and I'm bringing in guest hosts to join the program. I've been in talks with them. Some of them have agreed. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all pans out, and I appreciate your support if you do check it out. So this thing's loaded. These are all the video exclusive episodes that I've done, and everything curated here is only from decentralized platforms. So that would be like Odyssey, Rumble. I don't know if Rumble really is decentralized, but I'll just call them that for now. UMaker at times. Just depends on how the headers don't block all the thumbnail tags. So yeah, I do use different ones. Sometimes I'll even use Gab posts here as well. So just letting you know that this is the best place for you to consume the video exclusive stuff if some of these things don't even make it to or stay on YouTube because, well, it's YouTube. But yeah, anyway, let's get to this one. So I'm going to pretend this is going to be a recording session and you get to see how this goes. So I'm going to do an intro for this episode. of a local broker reacts, and I'll cue you all in because y'all are watching this when it premieres. So I guess I'll, without further ado, I'm just gonna start. Give myself a countdown. 3, 2, 1. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Andres Segovia Show. I am your host, Andres Segovia. Thank you so much for joining me in this episode of the program. Today, I have a hybrid of tech and real estate. This is why I do what I do, folks. I have tech that I used to teach my fellow agents, and also tell people that that real estate is the best for them. But for those of us that are in the field that work on this is why I tell them, look, tech is the best way for you to be more efficient, to be working smarter, not harder, to get your things done. Tech can be your best friend. This, however, while it's in that sphere of real estate and tech, is not something I'm actually a big fan of. I looked into a little bit and like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. I'm in the wrong business, and you'll see why. Okay, so this is something that came across. I might have to self-censor here, but whatever. This came across my attention by a fellow content creator. I guess this is the best way to say it. Like, sorry, I'm trying to say it without laughing, but I'm laughing anyway. Okay, I can't say it with a straight face. Okay, some bitch told me. So that's literally is her name. That's her handle. That's her show. So that's how I came across this. Some bitch told me. So this one is in Los Angeles. So this is, like I said, a bit of a local broker reacts and tech talk. So this is gonna debut a little later. I actually am filming this live with those that are watching the stream on Tech Talk. So those of you that are watching on the stream are seeing this before it debuts. And for the rest of you, you'll get it whenever it debuts. So this is from April 26th. I'm recording on April 28th. This episode, and let's just dive into it. I would like to play this video, but unfortunately the audio isn't coming through for whatever reason, so I'm not even going to bother. So for those of you watching the later episode, I'm going to overlay the video on this so you can see the report. Now let's just dive into this, shall we? This comes from CBS Los Angeles. The Los Angeles real estate market is moving into the metaverse. Metaverse being the new name for Facebook and the whole universe, the virtual world that they created. Then when you create an avatar and live in this fictional thing, the whole thing is fiction, okay? Anyway, moving into the metaverse, where anyone who buys certain homes in Beverly Hills can also buy a sister residence that has been built in the 3D world. Great. Raquel Atlas Mays has helped hundreds of buyers and sellers in the LA area find a home. Her latest offering, a 1928 Spanish-style home that goes for the selling price of $9.4 million. The person that buys this house can actually buy a house that's already built in the metaverse for $100,000. That's $100,000 extra for a home in the virtual world, also referred to as the metaverse. What the heck? What the heck? Oh, man. Okay, there's a lot of interest in the metaverse, actually. There's $4 billion that has been spent in the last year, so it's very popular. What the heck? Alex Yates is the co-founder of Letty, a metaverse developer. You're not a metaverse developer. You're just a 3D programmer that says you built oh my goodness, you built a virtual tour of a house. My goodness. Right now we are walking through the central land, checking out the property, Yates says, as he provided a virtual tour. Exactly. Agents provide that on the MLS and Zillow. Now you're telling me that you can own it? In this case, for $100,000, freaking A. It's like these Minecraft folks that built Westeros, that built a Nintendo, that an actual working computer, things in the world of Minecraft. It's like, hey, this is how you can truly make the money. Oh my goodness. Once the buyer buys the house, we will develop the interior for them. Oh my God, I'm not going to be able to get through this article. Look, no offense, yo. I am not into non-fungible tokens. Do I believe in cryptocurrency? Hey, I believe in having a digital cash coin. Yeah. I also understand realities. There's no electricity. There's no way to use it. Okay. Unless you're putting it on a stick and like a SD card or whatever and moving it somewhere else. But that's not the point. The point is, if it's not tangible, I truly don't care. So you're telling me I can own a virtual house that I cannot live in, that I cannot touch, I cannot furnish with something that I have here. I cannot put my mug on it. I cannot actually use the coffee machine in the virtual world to make a coffee and then drink it in the real world. You're telling me I'm gonna spend maybe $100,000. You will develop it for me. Holy smokes. People will be able to have their friends from all over the world for a virtual gathering. So you're telling me I could just make a glorified Zoom call that can move in a 3D space, or a Facebook invite? Oh my goodness. This could have NFTs displayed in the house. They could have furniture changes. Oh my goodness. I'm not going to get through this article, folks. Oh, I'm in the wrong business. Okay. I don't even know if I could pronounce his name right. MTATS compared the concept to the internet in 1994, saying that metaverse homes will only continue to grow in popularity. We are looking at Gen Z, millennials taking over. More than 85% of Gen Z and millennials play video games. So the virtual world is very familiar space to them. Wow. Okay, so you admit you have no idea what you're talking about. There's a difference because they play video games. You guys don't even know how to describe it. Like, oh, they play video games. Like, do you know what a difference is between a role-playing game and a multiplayer game? I don't even think they could even explain that. It's just they can't even break that down. Oh, they play Nintendo, therefore they they play Super Mario, therefore they're gonna spend $100,000 on a fictional metaverse home. It's like, unless you understand the allure of Minecraft, which I think Facebook is trying to get people to understand, it's not going to work in that sense that you think it means. For others, however, a home in the metaverse may be too much of an out-of-world experience. Mate says that's perfectly fine, and her Spanish-style home in Beverly Hills can be purchased without the virtual home. So does that mean someone can purchase the virtual home, without having to purchase the physical home? Oh man, this is this is not a Brave New World. Ever since The Matrix came out, I'm not I'm not trying to knock the business model, okay? Look, if there's this is like, if they build it, they will come, or they see any felony. This is just people trying to cash in on the whole metaverse craze that isn't really a craze. Among my people, the people that I know, don't care about metaverse, because metaverse is Facebook. They're not on Facebook. It's like, dude, these are for boomers. You're trying to reach the boomer generation and saying that hey, you play video games, right? Then you're gonna like this. You guys really don't know how to talk to the generation being raised on Minecraft, and people that love Minecraft, or people that live in mods and all that, and multiplayer worlds, fantasies, and all that. It's just that, fantasies. They play in a fictional environment, a fantasy. You're trying to replicate a real world experience into a digital sphere. That's not what they're looking for. It's like you're thinking this is Dwight Schrute in The Office, where he's in a metaphysical world, and and he creates Dwight Schrute, assistant to the regional manager, in the virtual space, except that he could fly. Like, really? You didn't make yourself the regional manager? You still made yourself the assistant regional manager? That's the disconnect that I'm talking about. That people think, I could go down this road, but The business model is solid. If you can make money off it, fantastic. Take advantage of the people that have the money to spend, especially in this environment as we're looking down the true fears of a recession that's going to happen at any moment now. But yes, tell me how people that will not have any money will spend money they don't have to buy a virtual thing they will not be able to use. Mm. Hey, more power to them. Okay, I'm just saying. I'm not them. I kind of wish I were because it's like, hey, give me your money. Here you go. Now you have a link to your virtual world in the metaverse. Wow. So either enjoy the home you just spent millions of dollars on or be in a computer in that home to enjoy the virtual world. Oh my goodness. What happened to us as humanity? I mentioned Matrix. Um, Matrix was yeah, it's a phenomenal movie. It's not a franchise; it's just one movie. Okay, the rest don't exist to me. But the thing is that after that, there was a psychological change among people, kind of like how what happened when people saw the movie Avatar. That's as immersive as a 3D experience as it gets. Okay, and Avatar: The Way of Water. You can't make that up. It's like, dude, are you really naming it the sequel to Avatar after the you know what's Ang from the show, the Last Airbender, the Avatar: The Last Airbender. I don't know, The Way of Water. So, um, the psychological state of being that people were suffering that they weren't in that world, or like in the case of Avatar, or in the case of the Matrix, that they realized that maybe I am living in a in a computer simulation and I need to be unplugged from the Matrix. Well, that's actually have gotten more true with how big tech has taken more control of our lives, how social media's kind of social engineered us to be plugged in to this space that we can't tear ourselves away from. And it's due to that that many people are technically made that come true, that they're plugged into this matrix system. And like Morpheus says, that we're the battery to the matrix. That's what humanity was to the machine world in the movie The Matrix. In the real world, our personal private data is the battery that powers a lot of these big tech oligarchies because they're using our data to sell it off to the highest bidder. That's how we get targeted with ads, and it's all really social engineering. And a psychological manipulation because like you need this, you need that. Like, oh my gosh, yes, definitely. And through that comes this dangerous power to influence behaviors, influence the way you spend your money, influence the way you vote. And that's a very real thing. Now, imagine this even further when these big tech oligarchies control what you see, how you see it, when you see it, and what they want you to see. That's exactly what they do. So the metaverse thing, there's some people that have woken up to what Facebook has been doing. This is why people on the left are upset with respects to what Twitter is because of the curated information that won't. If Elon Musk is able to take control of Twitter, as the intent is, because as of right now he's not technically not the owner of it. It's going to take some time, and he could and this deal could still fall through. That the flow of information will no longer be controlled. So there was like a monopoly when you really take into account Alphabet, which controls Google, which all the searches in the world basically run through, and then YouTube, where people consume their video content, not to mention where people interact. That would be Facebook with their families and friends and things like that. And then where people kind of rely on news, so to speak, would be Twitter. Twitter has become the wire news for a lot of people. And when you can control that flow of information, and that everybody's only in on all this, yeah, it becomes a concern. So take that to the inevitable next step, which is the virtual space, which many people knew this was going to happen eventually at some point. But what is being trying to be made here with the metaverse is not the same thing as the video game sphere, where you're getting a whole fantasy experience. The whole idea of Oculus and HTC's Vive was that you're able to be transported, have an incredible experience that's quite literally out of this world, to be something or to do things you can never do in the real world. like say fly, or you're out in some distant galaxy, you're battling aliens, or living a different time era, all these different things. That's what those experiences provide. That's not what the metaverse is doing. The metaverse is really doing is like, here, let's take your real world experience and put it in a virtual space. So in other words, your fake lives are truly fake. Now, if you only live on social media, make it more unbelievable by living in this virtual space. You buy your NFTs and you can display them there. This is ridiculous, and I don't like that. I love technology. I love that it's an extension of our hands in a way that we can achieve more, we can do more, we can be in more places, so to speak. It connects us better to other people around the world. But to live in a fictional space, it's only playing on the emotions of people that think that they're already living in this real world and think that they're not here. And now you're going to make that more of a virtual reality for them. No, I just think it's even more dangerous and quite frankly stupid. But this whole thing, metaverse developer, you want me to actually say that? You're a freaking programmer and a guy that just does virtual tours. No, I'm not going to give you the virtual developer. Here, I'm making the schematics. You're building a freaking you're taking the blueprints of a home and just virtualizing them. That's literally a virtual tour. No, I will not give you the satisfaction. This is just ridiculous. Augmented reality. Anyway, this is really not where I thought I was gonna go with this episode, but that's the episode of my local broker reacts. Thank you so much for watching. Whenever you're watching, for those of you that are watching this when it goes up later and not live as I'm doing this on TikTok, I'll be overlaying this video because I want to see the video clip, but the audio for some reason isn't coming through. So I'm just gonna screen capture this and be able to share it then. For those of you that tuned in all the way from Tech Talk episode 27, thank you so very much. I really appreciate you all. And this is when I did that, so you can look at the clock, see when I did that. And if you want in on these episodes way before they even drop, that's where Locals is. My Local Broker Reacts episodes drop on Locals sometimes months before they even drop on the main show. That's because of scheduling things, and it just makes it easier for me to have content that I want my fans, true fans, to see. When I say true fans, those that really want to see and support me can go to Locals. So anyway, that's where I'll leave it. Thank you so much for watching this latest. I'm twisting my words here. Sip of coffee. Hold on. All right, better. Thanks very much for tuning into this latest episode of the Andres Segovia Show. Remember to like, share, subscribe, stay to know. You can go to my website, www.segovia.com. Find ways to support the show by clicking the support the show tab. Where you want to tune into my program or where to tune in, there's a ton of places you can watch or you can tune in to this. I'm across at least 6 different video platforms, not to mention across all of these podcast distributors. So there really isn't an excuse for you not to know about my podcast. So in response to someone that left a comment on my Instagram, says, bro, you have a podcast? That is sad. Yes, it is sad that you didn't know I had one. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one. Hey, that's it. Tech Talk, that I did it. Okay. Thanks very much for tuning in, and that's where I'll leave it. And for those of you guys watching, if you're still watching this late and you are on Instagram, I am doing a giveaway. So that's something I forgot to mention. So the giveaway post is over here. I'm giving away a $25 Under Armour gift card. And I'm also partnered with Ranger County Coffee Company to give away a 2-pound bag of coffee, a 15-ounce Campers mug, and this black tumbler. So you still have time to tune in. This is going to be, the drawing is on May 2nd, if I'm not mistaken. That's the Monday after this goes up. So you still have time. Check it out. DeAndre Segovia is the handle on Instagram. The links are available in the video description down below. Thanks again. See you in the next one.